before Justice Castillo, and the crux of the matter that was before Justice Castillo today was hinged on an application filed by Sengezo Chavangu and an outfit that he represents, which was the first applicant, which is also called the Citizens Coalition for Change, with its own constitution, its own models, its own symbols, as enunciated in the constitution, that it's the index finger pointing upwards. So that was the applicant, first applicant, and Chavangu's second applicant. So what they sought to do before the court today was to have our candidates, who were the first to 22nd respondents, disqualified from the impending by-election.
Hello guys, welcome back to TV. Parapatino paina dzakasiyana ma-updates ezviri kutransfer kumatimana enyika nedzimwe nzvimbo dzakatikomberedza. Manherane wandine vhidhiyo ndakubatirai panapa ndinoda kuti muone lawyer ranga richimiririra vanhu veTCC vakarekwaliwa naChabangu achizama kuda kuti vasaenda zvakare kumaby-election. Vakabhadharira mari dzavo machinzi ma1000 US dollars per person. Asi unoamukazve achiti vanhu avafanirwi kuenda kumaby-elections, asi taona kuti lawyer riri kumiririra vanhu vese ava amiramira uyezve vari kuti vachangosarwa kuti vanzwe judgment kuti highcourt ichataura kuti kudini kana kuti ichaitonga sei nhau iyi. Uye kwanzi vari kuenda kumaby-elections, mamember eCCC ari kuenda kumaby-elections atakatarisana nawo MC19 December awa vangori 8 chete, wireless nhau iyi ichimirirwa kuti vamwe vacho inzikwe kuti ichapera sei kuHighCourt. Asikadi kutaura zvakawanda, ndoda kuti muzvinzwire mega pana lawyer ari kumiririra bato reCCC pakurekolewa kwakaitwa vanhu veCCC. Muzonzwa zvamunofunga mucomment section. Asikadi chiri first time to be here, kusubscribe mahara for more information, for more updates.
Before Justice Castillo, and the crux of the matter that was before Justice Castillo today was hinged on an application filed by Sengezo Chavangu and an outfit that he represents, which was the first applicant, which is also called the Citizens Coalition for Change, with its own constitution, its own models, its own symbols, as enunciated in the constitution, that it's the index finger pointing upwards. So that was the applicant, first applicant, and Chavangu's second applicant. So what they sought to do before the court today was to have our candidates, who were the first to 22nd respondents, disqualified from the impending by-election. And the reasoning that they advanced to the court was that these members had ceased to be members of the first applicant, meaning therefore that they were not eligible to contest in the coming election. What they also seek to do is the setting aside of the decision of the nomination court. So we vehemently opposed this. The first to 22nd applicants opposed this on the ground that, number one, they do not recognize Chavangu. They do not recognize even the outfit that he represents. They belong to the Citizens Coalition for Change, which is their sponsoring party led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, and that Chavangu has no locus or no authority whatsoever to seek to set aside their nomination as candidates in the 9 December by-election. I was also representing the 25th respondent, which is the Citizens Coalition for Change, led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, which presented before the judge its own constitution, presented before the judge its own signatories, which were utilized for purposes of sponsoring the 22 candidates for the impending by-election. In fact, it's not all the 22 candidates who will be contesting in the by-election. It's only about 8 who are really going to be participating in the by-election, contrary to what the applicants were presenting to the court, that all these candidates will be contesting in the by-elections. Only 8 of them, while the rest are really, to go to parliament on the basis of the party list and proportional representation, Senate, so on and so forth. So this is the case that was before the court. The judge had arguments from all parties, reserved judgment, and now we await for that judgment to be handed down. Of course, it's a fraud of grand proportions. Of course, it's unheard of that, one person can just wake up from the street and claim to be, the one that sponsored members of parliament and hence write correspondence to the speaker. Of course, there's also quite some subtle, suggestions of connivance with the state, of connivance perhaps with the institutions that actioned these records. So, well, I'm pretty sure there was a statement earlier by Mr. Timber here on the reaction.
Yeah, but
So from the lawyers, our client's reaction to this is simple. This is an illegality. This is an affront to the democratic tendencies which we must uphold as a nation. And this is an onslaught on the rule of law. And that the courts are faced with these issues means that the courts need to make a determination and resolve these disputes judiciously without taking a side or without making political statements or political judgments.